Humans aren't born out of laying around on their asses. We've been born out of conquering a world. We're the dominant species. We built all this. We're powerful, and we're beautiful, and we're ready to build the next level of civilization in God's plan. But you must stop bowing to those who want to make you a victim. You must become the victor. If you love God and you want to build a pro-human future, then you are an enemy of the New World Order and Satanism. They want us shut down because we have the Spirit. I'm jacked into the source. I know the secret, and I want to see you empowered. But you have to believe in yourself first. This is the truth, and everyone knows it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're having a wonderful evening. I hope your Thanksgiving went remarkably well. I hope you're watching this from a food coma, and you got to spend some very cherished time with your friends and family. I have some things that I want to express that I'm very thankful for. Number one is God, of course, my family, all the blessings that I've been given. The people that have chosen to support my channel always means the world to me. And I am grateful that I am not a content creator like YongYea. And I'll explain. You see, YongYea put out a video that I think is the perfect encapsulation of everything that I'm against as somebody who does make videos and does talk about the gaming industry, which is to either lie by omission, to downplay or obfuscate the problem, or to just gin up numbers out of nowhere. Like YongYea in this video saying that Dragon Age the Veilguard sold millions of copies, and then going on and saying, well, this game was reviewed favorably, which, if you say that this game was reviewed favorably, what it tells me is that you have completely omitted the audience from the equation. That you're not even looking at the user score, you're only going by the quote-unquote critics. The same critics that gave the game 9s and 10s out of 10, which is insane. It is insane to put this game in a 9 or 10 out of 10. But I think that it's important that we watch this. I'm going to give my commentary about the initial intro of the video, because so often we have these people in the gaming space that dismiss the valid and very real criticism of gamers in favor of going with the established quote-unquote journalists.
So there's still a lot of questions about what...
Audio problem. 1 second. There we go.
So there's still a lot of questions about what the future holds for BioWare, even with the launch of Dragon Age the Veilguard. While the game did launch to generally favorable review scores, there are still some mixed receptions surrounding just the general direction of the game and whether it feels like the Dragon Age we knew, especially, you know, those who fell in love with Dragon Age Origin.
So that was about 22 seconds of nothing. There was not a single definitive... There are mixed reviews and generally favorable review scores. Really? Generally favorable? Yeah, from the critic side of things. But from the audience side of things, no, most certainly it's not generally favorable. It's generally unfavorable. And let's listen to that one more time. Just please, bear with me.
So there's still a lot of questions about what the future holds for BioWare.
No, there's not. I've not heard one person in my audience have a genuine question about the future of BioWare other than how long do you think it's going to take for them to be shut down? How long do you think it's going to take for them to go out of business? How many more games do you think it's going to take for them to basically be flushed down the toilet? I've not heard anyone say, well, you know, I'm very optimistic about BioWare. I think they have a bright future ahead of them. I've not heard any of that. None of that. There's no one really questioning what the future of BioWare is. It's pretty much set in stone at this point. BioWare is basically going to be done away with. It's only a matter of how long it takes. Then the next part.
Even with the launch of Dragon Age the Veilguard. While the game did launch to generally favorable review scores...
So everyone hated the game. Everyone. Even Angry Joe, who is more amenable to this sort of stuff, hated the game. He just did a review that was 45 minutes long. An absolute atrocity. Nobody, and I mean nobody, likes this game. There's not this overwhelming positivity about the game. Oh, this is Dragon Age. Pretty much everyone who plays it admits this isn't Dragon Age. The writing is terrible. The puzzles are so standard. The aesthetics are atrocious. I mean, there is really no redeeming elements of Dragon Age the Veilguard at all. But don't let that get in the way, Yong. Please continue to try to muddy the waters and pretend that this game is somewhere in the middle when it comes to reception.
There are still some mixed receptions surrounding just the general direction of the game and whether it...
Oh, yeah, it's mixed. It's just mixed, yeah. Yeah.
feels like the Dragon Age we knew, especially, you know, those who fell in love with Dragon Age Origin. And a lot of people are still kind of apprehensive about sort of the writing of these games, where it just doesn't feel as refined as it did back when BioWare was at its peak.
Doesn't feel as, like, I'm not trying to dissect every word that you say. My audience calls you YongYea, which I think is funny. But what you're saying here is just fluff. It's bullshit. It's like PR speak. And here's the thing. People in 2024, what they want is authenticity. And that's not what you provide anymore. You're obsolete. Now, you didn't always used to be this corporate and this polished and, oh, well, you know, the game was generally well received and people are questioning the future of BioWare. Like, no, they're not. They're not questioning the future of BioWare. The game was a steaming pile of shit. It was an embarrassing woke garbage fest. Even Asmongold is like, yeah, I can do all these puzzles. And if Asmongold can figure out the puzzles on the first try, you have fucked up in a way that I don't even think I can articulate into words.
When they had some of those like renowned veterans who have since left and kind of began to pursue.
Ironically, Patrick Weeks was responsible for Dragon Age Origins. I don't know how big he was at the time, but he was on that team. And now we get Trick Weeks. We've already done videos on Trick Weeks, which is Patrick Weeks' quote-unquote non-binary name. So eventually he became a mentally ill freak and had a breakdown and decided to join the cult. But yeah, no, he's still there. His hair is very blue now, and he's writing garbage characters like Tosh.
Do their own ventures. And so we'll see what happens with Mass Effect 5. Dragon Age the Veilguard did do decent numbers. If you look at Steam charts, the all-time peak suggests that it did sell a couple million copies. And
a couple million copies. A couple He just pulled that out of his ass. No, the last numbers I heard were that they just topped 1 million after like 4 weeks. I mean, atrocious numbers. Embarrassing numbers. Let's refresh. Let's see what it is right now. 13,000 people are playing this game. Okay? Right now, that's on Thanksgiving Day, 13,000 people. Let's go over to Black Myth Wukong. 8,000. Now, Black Myth Wukong came out, well, way before, didn't it? Didn't this come out way before? And you've got like a, you got like a 5,000 player disparity. But look at this. 24-hour peak, 16,000. 24-hour peak, 64,000. 64,511 people within the last 24 hours. And in the last 24 hours, 16,000 is the peak. And this game, so this is, single player games, you know, they die off. But look at these numbers. 2 million. And the reason why I mention this is because this is from a game company that put out their first game. Black Myth Wukong is their first. They had a fraction of the budget, but they did everything right. Meanwhile, this company has been around forever. It's been around for, you know, since the beginning of gaming. Like, this is an old company. This was back in the 90s, like 1990s. They were making games. And you mean to tell me that in 2024, you think these are decent numbers? Yong, I just got to tell you, you're full of shit. You're absolutely full of shit. And you pulled those millions of copies numbers out of your ass.
And the user score on Steam is mostly positive at 71%, but ultimately,
It's mostly positive on Steam. The few people that are actually playing it. Let's see. 72% of the 27,000 user views are positive. Huh. Interesting. Interesting that the review scores are 72%, which is still a C, but nobody played it. Like, do you understand that these numbers for a AAA game are abysmal? This is like the all-time peak. This is what you want right here. Like, this is like biggest of all time, groundbreaking, conversation starting. This is what you at least aim for. You're never gonna get it, but you at least aim for it. This is like you're depressed.
it doesn't have that universal acclaim that BioWare once upon a time used to receive. And so there are people who are looking towards some of those projects that BioWare veterans have been pursuing outside of BioWare. A lot of BioWare veterans have started their own studio, such as none other than Casey Hudson, who you may recall left back in December of 2020, departed BioWare alongside Mark Dara.
All right, and so he's going to go on and talk about, Casey Hudson and his recently failed venture. What I will say is this. I can't promise you that I'm always going to be right, that I'm always going to get everything right, that I'm not going to sometimes have audio issues. I do appreciate the people that reach out like, hey, your audio's off or something. But what I can promise you, and I mean this sincerely from the bottom of my heart, I will never, ever become like that. Whatever the hell that was. That's sort of just obfuscating, dishonest, delusional, like mainstream media like rhetoric. And the fact of the matter is that no matter what the Steam charts say in terms of reviews, like, oh, it's 72% positive. Look everywhere that people are talking about this game. It is negative. The game is shit. Nobody is making videos about how great this aspect of Dragon Age is, or how amazing the dialogue is. Nobody is showing clips because they're so amazed at a certain element of the game. The only reason that they're showing clips is because of how bad things are. Like, every time that Asmongold reacts to a clip, it's something that's progressively worse that he didn't encounter in the game that he's just now becoming familiar with. And every time you can see him regret that 6 out of 10 that he gave the game. Because it's like one after another, he's taking these blows like, oh my god, like this is atrocious. This game represents a failure on every level. And when you have people like YongYea that are unwilling to be forthright and to be honest and want to play this game like, oh, the game did slightly well. It sold millions of copies. Nobody's playing the game, and Black Myth Wukong has more people playing 24 hours in a 24-hour span than this game. But it's doing fairly well. Not a critically acclaimed success, but reviewers liked it. It's like, do you understand? Like, that is a type of dishonesty, and people pick up on that. People are aware of that. No one is questioning the future of Bioware. It's not ambiguous. There isn't mixed responses to it. There aren't mixed reactions to it. Maybe this is all the people on Blue Sky. You know, because I'm not a pedophile and because I'm not a Trump deranged retard, I didn't feel the need to go there. Maybe people are speaking positively about the game because they are mentally ill perverts and freaks and retards on that website. But other than that, I can't understand how anyone could come into this and say, well, people are up in the air about the future of Bioware. I've never been more certain of anything in my life. I have zero confidence in Mass Effect 5. No, less than none. I am now actively against the game because I know the same people that made this are going to make that. The same people writing for this are going to be part of writing that. You just know it. You just know the same sort of pollutant, the same sort of disgusting freak culture is going to ooze its way in there, and it's going to be more of the same. They failed with Andromeda. They failed with Anthem. These people are failures. And now you add Dragon Age the Veilguard to the list of ever-growing abominations that this company shits out. And it's embarrassing. It is really disgraceful. The fact that these people can't figure out life. Something so simple. Give us a Dragon Age game. We want quippy dialogue. We want good dialogue. We want things to make sense. We want characters that are aesthetically pleasing. And boy, don't even get me started. I have to make another video on Avowed. Because apparently Dragon Age the Veilguard wasn't a big enough failure. Concord wasn't a big enough failure. You freaks in the gaming industry need to apparently learn this lesson over and over and over. That making ugly female characters, that having in woke identity politics, doing the id pull thing, having shockingly inept writing, having graphics that don't meet the standard of 2024. You know, people just spent $700, $800 on a PS5 Pro, and your graphics that are coming out in 2024 look like shit. It is indefensible, it is inexcusable, and to quote a great song, we're not going to take it. We're not going to take it anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you watching. I appreciate your support. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving, and I'll see you next time.